Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video on Bitcoin. The bankers starting to get involved in it, with one bank in particular getting involved in Bitcoin for their own reasons. But first, we can look at the price chart of Bitcoin, and honestly, it is nothing crazy, nothing special going on, nothing ridiculous. Kind of just still looking at 47,000 as a strong support and 49,000 as a very strong resistance. So we're caught back in this zone we were in for quite a while here, and it's going to be more than likely difficult to break through again, and we might be stuck in this zone for however a couple weeks like we were back here, which was obviously well defined. We hit 47 tons of times, hit 49 tons of times, and that's exactly where we are right now. And it's probably going to be difficult to get over 49 and back over 50. But for the bankers news, we've got $330 billion Revolut, probably butchered that, but they are using Bitcoin to pay for office space for 300 employees, and this office space is in the US. They're paying it for rental office with WeWork using Bitcoin payments, and obviously says how long before it's their preferred international remittance service. And then you go right on to the next tweet here, and they're using it to make international payments because it's cheaper. So I just showing what Bitcoin can really do and why people are going to start adopting it, because even though everyone says it's too expensive to exchange with, it is actually much cheaper than the legacy system of sending money internationally. And it's much easier to deal with Bitcoin and sending Bitcoin to someone than it is for sending uh, your country's currency to another country, and then seeing how it's valued to each other, plus how it's valued to the dollar, and how all of those conversions work. And it is probably very, very confusing for a lot of these banks to send money between countries. And Bitcoin would just make it easier. Just say, give me X amount of Bitcoin, and then you can send it. And you don't have to know conversion rates and all that. It's just they will ask for the Bitcoin, and you can send the Bitcoin. Doesn't matter. And the fact that we're seeing a pretty big bank start using Bitcoin to pay for these like office spaces and to for the rents here and everything, and using it for international things. It's not like they're just testing it; they are using it. They're here with Bitcoin. They are sending it internationally because it's easier and cheaper, and they are using it to pay for rent in U.S. offices. Uh, maybe they're not a U.S. bank. I would assume that, but regardless, they're using it to pay rent because it's probably easier for them to do that as well and pay the rent for the offices in Bitcoin than it is to pay the rent in US dollars if they're a foreign bank. And all those conversions is just a lot easier, less of a headache for to just pay in Bitcoin. And we have the supply crisis continuing right here. The Bitcoin supplies on exchanges is the lowest in 3 years. The only solution to a supply crisis is higher prices, and that is exactly what will happen. It's just what has to happen with simple supply and demand economics 101. So you can see the orange line, balance on exchanges, the gray line, the price. You can see the exchange balance on exchanges dropping drastically, the price following with a pump here. And when we got a massive downturn in price and collapse here. This didn't even really spike. I wouldn't call this a spike, but it moved up and stabilized while Bitcoin traded sideways. And then this started moving down. The price started moving back up. And a big thing for me to take away from this chart is we know this collapse right here was the Tesla news. There was a lot of leverage used in the market, so it was a time when everyone was bearish. All of this stuff was going on. Leverage is being deployed, and Tesla came out with bad news. And this might have happened without Tesla's news. Who knows? But you see this massive spike down in price, and not really a massive spike up in supply. Yes, people went to the market to sell their Bitcoin and panic sell and get out and all of that stuff. and then it kind of just went sideways with the price, and we're back right back in this downtrend here with the price skyrocketing up. I think this is a good sign long term for Bitcoin. This really hard pullback in price that would have scared, basically anyone who is not used to Bitcoin volatility. And we didn't see the spike in the Bitcoin coming back on exchanges. We just saw it, go up. People wanted to get out. This was probably panic selling here, but nothing crazy happened. And going from supply on exchanges, we can look at the interest in Bitcoin on the Google Trends over time. This is 2017, so obviously all-time highs here, and went back down. And we see the interest spike up and didn't even get to levels near 2017 levels, but got to 54 or whatever in the beginning of the year when Bitcoin was rallying, and it started to really take off and kind of sustained that. And then we had another spike here, was around May 16th, so not sure. That's probably the crash in Bitcoin that happened, and everyone wanted to know what was going on. And then we see interest just literally nothing. Like, it's down, it hasn't spiked, it's actually continuing to go lower, which isn't a bad thing because the price continued to go up in this time. Yes, it traded sideways for a couple months even, but ultimately the price is coming back up, recovering, doing its thing, and the hash rate's recovering, all of that without needed hype from the media or from retail investors or from anybody, which is what you want to see in Bitcoin, and an asset that is able to do its own thing without needing hype to be able to move in price or gain adoption or any of that types of stuff. But relating that to price, this is at a very low, at level of 15. I mean, that's like the bear market levels. And we've seen we're not in a bear market. The price broke through all of its bear market readings and technicals. So what I think is the price makes a new all-time high at some point relatively soon, maybe in like a month or something. I don't want to give time frames because nobody knows, but if the price makes a new all-time high, the interest will probably spike again, and that will send a lot of people FOMOing into Bitcoin, which will make the price go even further. And then we could see Bitcoin hit six figures if it's massive FOMO, and then that would trigger people to be a big psychological level. I think 100K, even though a lot of people are bullish for it, a lot of people are calling for it, and I think it will probably happen. Uh, it'll be a huge level of selling at 100K. So we'll see when we get there, but just interesting to see the price doing well while interest continues to be very low. And to wrap this video up, we can look at the margin data for Bitcoin. We'll even go back a week so we can actually see this. And it paints a picture that can go both ways, which is kind of crazy. So leverage, which is longs, and there's both leverage, but longs are over 40,000, shorts actually had a big rise up and are almost at 1,500. But looking at both of them, we can see longs from a week ago, 38,000, with a massive move up to this 40K level, and even shorts went from 940 to almost 1,500. So both sides, I would say right now, have the possibility to sway the price with big cascading liquidations. So we will, depending on how the price goes, it's been pretty stable. I think under 47,000 maybe triggers some of the liquidations on longs, and that'll cause it to maybe collapse more, and will really test that 47K support. Or getting above that $49,000 level might get start liquidating these shorts, which would push the price over the 50K and start to get into this range right here, where there is no resistance, getting over 50K, and this range where it's just no man's land, semi-price discovery, even though we've already been here. But we're definitely at a spot where I think under 47 triggers long liquidations, which would cause the price to go down very quickly, like we saw right here, or going above 49K, maybe even getting close to 49K, and then we would see the short squeeze and start to pump the price up. So it's interesting that both of these, at least from what I can see, both of these seem possible, like a very large increase in longs as well as an increase in shorts. So we'll see how it all plays out. Only time will tell. That's going to do it for this video. Bitcoin bankers starting to adopt it. The charts looking all right. Pretty boring stuff right now, but leverage will tell the story in the short term here as to if we get a big move up or down with liquidations. But as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video.